Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why do I feel so tired all the time? Even after a good night's sleep, even without doing anything physically exhausting, that heavy weight on your body and soul still remains. If this question has ever crossed your mind, know that you are not alone. Many people live with this same unexplained fatigue. And the worst part is that we often end up believing it's a sign of weakness, laziness, or that something is wrong with us. But today, I want to show you a different perspective, one that may completely change the way you see this feeling. What you are experiencing is not a lack of strength. In fact, it might be quite the opposite. This exhaustion could actually be a sign that you have been chosen, that there is a greater purpose over your life. Throughout this video, I want to walk with you through this understanding. Together, let's explore where this exhaustion comes from, an exhaustion that is not only physical but also spiritual. And let's uncover what it truly means for your journey. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to this channel, leave your like, and share this message with someone who also needs to hear it. And more than that, write in the comments a simple yet powerful affirmation, something like, "I receive strength every day," or "My soul is being renewed." When you write these words, you are speaking life into your reality, declaring a truth that has the power to transform you. So, what does it mean when I say that you may be chosen? Stay calm. It's not about feeling superior to others or carrying a burden of endless suffering. Being chosen simply means having a deeper sensitivity, almost like an inner radar that picks up on things most people don't notice. It's as if you carry a finely tuned antenna that detects suffering, truth, and the need for healing around you. Think about it. Some people can walk away from a difficult conversation and feel completely fine as if nothing happened. But you, perhaps you go home exhausted, as though you carried that person's pain along with your own. This is not weakness, and it's not drama. It's sensitivity. And sensitivity consumes energy. When you notice the sadness in someone's eyes, when you feel the weight of an environment, or when another person's problem affects you almost physically, both your body and soul engage. Over time, this creates a type of exhaustion that cannot be solved simply by sleeping more hours or taking a vacation. It's as if you were a sponge. When a sponge touches a stain, it absorbs the liquid in order to clean it. But if it keeps absorbing non-stop, eventually it reaches a point where it can no longer hold anything else. Heavy, almost unable to function, or like an antenna that picks up signals others cannot perceive. This gift is useful, it is valuable, but it also requires care and maintenance so that it is not destroyed in the middle of a storm. The truth is, many times you feel the pain of others as if it were your own. You're moved by their suffering. You become a safe harbor for friends and family. You feel a deep discomfort in the face of injustice, and sometimes you even experience a fatigue in your body that seems to have no medical explanation. All of this points to something greater. You are not simply tired. There is a calling, there is a purpose. And it is very important that you understand this. Being chosen does not mean living in exhaustion or accepting to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. It is not a punishment. It is a sign that there is a special role for you to fulfill, and that this sensitivity is part of your gift. When you shift your perspective, you stop repeating the phrase, "I am weak because I am always tired." Instead, you begin to understand that this fatigue speaks about who you are and about the mission you carry. So before we move forward, I want you to pause, take a deep breath and acknowledge, what I feel is real. This is not complaining. This is not drama. It is simply naming what is happening within you. And once we give something a name, we begin to understand it, and understanding opens a path. Now that you have started to grasp this idea of being chosen, it is important to take another step, to differentiate between physical fatigue and spiritual fatigue. It may sound simple, but it is not. Many times we confuse one with the other. Physical fatigue is the kind that everyone knows. You work all day, run from one task to another, handle countless responsibilities, exert yourself, and by the end of the day, your body demands rest. It is natural. It is part of being human. A good night's sleep, a quiet weekend, or even just a few hours of pause are usually enough to restore your physical energy. This type of fatigue has a quick solution because it is directly linked to physical exertion. But there is another kind of fatigue, one much deeper, that is not healed by 8 hours of sleep. It is the fatigue of the soul, what we call spiritual exhaustion. This type of weariness appears even on days when you have not done anything particularly demanding, when you did not run, did not lift heavy weights, did not stand for hours, and yet you feel as though you have crossed an invisible marathon. It is a sense of internal heaviness, of being drained from within, as if every part of you has been pouring out far too much and has not received anything in return. This spiritual fatigue is born from Spiritual fatigue is different from physical tiredness. While the body recovers with sleep and rest, the soul requires silence, reconnection, and inner restoration. Often you feel drained, not because of what you physically did, but because of invisible burdens you carry, absorbing other people's pain, worries, and the heavy energy of certain environments. This exhaustion doesn't show up in medical tests, yet it weighs on you deeply. It's like walking with an unseen backpack that slowly fills with negativity, bad news, and the struggles of loved ones. Over time, this invisible weight overwhelms both body and mind. Recognizing the difference between physical and spiritual fatigue is essential, because only inner healing can truly restore the soul. Spiritual exhaustion often comes from carrying pain that isn't yours. You absorb the struggles of others, feel the weight of injustice, and take on invisible burdens that drain your soul. This is not weakness, it's sensitivity, a reflection of Christ's heart within you. Even Jesus grew weary and withdrew to restore himself. In the same way, your compassion is a gift, but it also requires care, rest, and renewal. Even Jesus showed us the balance between compassion and limits. He rested, prayed, and withdrew so he could continue his mission. The lesson is simple. Self-care is not selfish, it is spiritual. Without renewal, you cannot keep giving. Just like an empty cup cannot quench thirst, a weary soul cannot serve fully. Caring for yourself through rest, prayer, and simple moments of silence allows you to serve others from a place of abundance, not exhaustion. They need to withdraw, to recharge, to reconnect with the source. Do not ignore the signals of your body, and do not dismiss the cries of your soul. Self-care is not optional. It is an essential part of your mission. When we speak of calling, sensitivity, and compassion, it is easy to fall into the trap of believing that our role is only to give, and give. But the truth is, no heart can survive only by pouring out. For life to be healthy, there must be balance. There is a time to give, and there is a time to receive. You may see yourself as strong, always the shoulder to lean on, the counselor, the one who holds everything together when others around you are falling apart. But if you never allow someone to be that shoulder for you, if you never open space to receive care, your soul becomes increasingly dry. It is like trying to keep a flame burning without ever adding oil to the lamp. Eventually, the light goes out. The balance between giving and receiving is a spiritual law. If you give too much and never refill, you become a desert. If you only receive and never share, you become stagnant. But when there is flow, when you allow yourself to be a channel and not just a container, energy circulates. You give because you are full, and you receive because you know you must remain full. It is like the movement of the heart. It pumps blood to the body, but it also receives blood back to keep functioning. If it only sent, it would die. If it only received, it would also die. Life exists in the balance of both. So do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be ashamed to accept a hug, a prayer, care, or counsel. Do not think that being chosen means being invincible. Even the strongest needs someone to lean on. This does not diminish your calling. On the contrary, it strengthens it. And remember this: when you care for yourself and allow yourself to receive, you are not abandoning your mission. You are ensuring that you can live your mission with quality without destroying yourself in the process. Because what good is it to save the world if in the end you lose yourself? Balance is the key word. Knowing when to give, but also when to stop. Knowing when to speak, but also when to remain silent. Knowing when to carry someone, but also when to allow yourself to be carried. This dance between giving and receiving is what keeps the soul alive and ready to continue. And now we arrive at an important truth. The weariness you feel, this deep exhaustion that often seems unexplainable, is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it is a mark that you have been chosen. Your sensitivity and your heart are aligned with something greater. This fatigue is a sign of purpose, of mission, of compassion. But recognizing this is not enough. You must act on this awareness. You need to learn to listen to your body, your mind, and most importantly, your soul. You must create spaces for rest, silence, prayer, and renewal. You must allow yourself to recharge in order to keep giving, to continue being a light and a presence for others. So now I invite you to a sincere reflection. What have you been doing to take care of yourself? How have you been balancing what you give with what you receive? Where can you allow yourself to pause without guilt, to reconnect and restore? Take a few moments to think about this. Breathe deeply and acknowledge your mission is important, but you are even more important.